What is going on, everybody? Jay here from Square Pegs. Welcome back to the channel. So happy to see you. It is a new month, which means it is time for the best part of the month. And that's right, it is time to once again open our latest shipment from my good friends at Video Games Monthly. Now, what is Video Games Monthly, you might ask? Video Games Monthly is a monthly subscription service where you can get 3, 4, 5, 10, or now 20 games sent directly to your front door. These are retro games all the way from Atari up to the Xbox One and PS4. Sorry, I forgot my Xbox terminology there for a second. Where you are able to get retro games sent directly to your door. You get to keep them. You don't have to send them back. This isn't a rental service. This is a keep the games. You pay for it, you get to keep it. All we have to do now is crack this box open, free it from its priority mail prison, and take a look at what's inside. Now, I'll be honest with you. The last couple of months have been a little bit rough for my relationship with VGM. The boxes just haven't been great. But I still do like supporting the team. I do like the service that they offer. I don't have a ton of options around me for retro game stores. So having games sent to me every month means I get to get new old games sent to me. Now, value-wise is what I'm talking about here. Value-wise has not been great the last couple of months, but gameplay-wise has been spectacular. Let's hope that we get to the value this month and we get some good games inside. So how I do this is I open this box right here. I look right down this camera without looking at what games it is. I hold it up to the camera. We find out at the exact same time what it is. That is a lie. You usually find out before me because I am old and can't read, but that's all right. Now, I always do a blind feel right off the bat. And right off the bat, we have our ephemera. First up, we have a VGM Floydomania Run a Wild on You sticker. I do love that we get this kind of stuff. I love Floyd. I think he's a great mascot. I love the Mega Man look. Really happy to have him. And we have our social card, and this says I got a 1-up. So what a 1-up is, it means I got an extra game this box, which is super cool. The other side of the social card, though, is it tells you to share your experience online. You'll be entered in for an opportunity to win a free 3-up box, 3 free games sent directly to your front door. It also reminds you to update your list of games that you own on their website. That's right. You get to curate your list. You get to say what games you have. That way they don't send you duplicates. But if they do, as human error can happen, it will take care of you. You just got to reach out to customer service. They'll get you a new game sent out, lickety-split, and you'll be good to go. Blind feel, we have 1 NES, 2 NES, what appear, oh my gosh, a Super Nintendo, a Genesis, a Wii U or a GameCube, and something in a standard CD case, which is interesting because I don't get anything in a standard CD case. So, all right, up first, we're going to go NES. 3, 2, 1. The Hunt for Red October. I've never played this one. Let's take a look now at Hunt for Red October. Apologies for the lighting on this one. I'm kind of dealing with a new setup in the game room, and I didn't quite have it right, so things are a little grainy, and it doesn't look quite right. And what the hell was up with that hair hanging off of my chin? I'm glad it fell off, but boy, just gross, just bad, just ugly all the way around, and I apologize for that. This is amateur hour here, folks, just absolute amateur hour. But you know what isn't? Shockingly, the Hunt for Red October. Now, I'm not saying that to say it's good. This isn't a good game by any stretch of the imagination, but when I saw that cover, really, really expected this to just be a hot pile of garbage, and it is only like a room temperature pile of garbage. It's a tough game, but the gameplay is not at all what I expected. Like, I expected something a little bit more strategy related, and it's not. It's a side-scrolling shmup. You're just a, submarine. And it's pretty cool. Like, it's not a good game. Like, I need to stress that again. It's not good, but it isn't bad. It's very safe. I think that's probably the best way to put it. It's a very safe game to utilize the license the way it did. I'm not upset to have this one, and it's not something I'm immediately going to get rid of. I'm actually probably going to play this one again and try to get better at it because it's tough. I will say that. I'm not upset though. Pleased with the Hunt for Red October, which I did not expect to be saying. Not a huge fan of the movie. A little bit dry for my tastes when I saw it when I was a kid. I think you can probably understand why. But yeah, there's the gameplay for it. You know better than I do right now if it's a fun game. So we'll find that out together. Killer box art, though. Really love that kind of silhouette of Connery on there. I think that's pretty cool. NES game numero dos. 3, 2, 1. That's Gradius. That is absolutely Gradius. Now, the cart is in a little bit rough shape. You can probably see the scratches on there, but excited to have this one. This is a fantastic shmup, one of the best shmups of all time. I have this for the Famicom. Excited, though, to add this to the collection for the NES. Let's take a look now at Gradius. There's not really much that needs to be said about Gradius, right? Like, it's Gradius. Everyone's played it at this point. It's a classic side-scrolling shmup. It is classic Konami on the NES. It's got that beautiful silver box art packaging, which I just absolutely adore. And it is just hellaciously difficult. I am so bad at this game. I have always been bad at this game. Like, this is one of those titles that when I was a kid, I used to love, and I used to rent, and I used to borrow it from my friend Josh, but I was never good at it. I was never able to beat it. I was never able to do much with it, but it's something that I always went back to and something that I always appreciated. Now, I think as I've gotten older, I think Parodius is a better version of the game, and that's just because it plays, you know, as Gradius firmly tongue-in-cheek, and it's a little bit more forgiving than I think the first Gradius is, because this is a really, really hard game, but no complaints here. Happy to have this one. This is one of those games that I really appreciate that VGM sends out, because this is one of those ones where I always overlook it at a convention, because it's always one of those ones where I'm like, oh, Gradius is always available. I don't need to pick it up. But I'm happy to have it. Happy to add it to the collection. Wish the cartridge was in a little bit better shape, but the game plays, and that's all that really matters. Like I said, one of the greatest shmups of all time, something that really kind of set the stage for what a shmup could be on the NES, and made use of the Konami code because, let's face it, you needed it in that game. All right, up next, let's see what this mystery disc-based game is. I don't know. It could be. Ooh, actually, I do get stuff for a disc-based game. I get Dreamcast stuff. This could be a very rare Dreamcast shipment. All right, let's see. 3, 2, 1. It is Dreamcast. It is Championship Surfer, featuring Corey Lopez and 7 world-class surfers. I am going to go out on a limb and say this is not going to be super fun. But yeah, we'll try it out. I've never actually played a surfing game. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this at all or not, but I am always excited to get Dreamcast stuff. It's always a treat to get something for the Dreamcast, even when the thing that you receive is not necessarily a spectacular game, because Dreamcast stuff is so hard to come by nowadays, and it's so hard to find something complete in box in this good a condition. This is Championship Surfer. This was released along the same time as things like Kelly Slater Pro Surfer, Dave Mirra BMX, and maybe a game you might have heard of, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And while all of those games do things okay, this one doesn't. This is a mess. It's a hot mess of a game. It is really ugly. It is very difficult to control. It feels fairly pointless. The camera work is terrible. The graphics aren't great. The sound is there. Not a good experience. Not gonna lie to you, but still cool to get a Dreamcast game. And it's always nice to get a CIB game as well, especially something for a Dreamcast game where that case is actually in really good shape. That makes me very happy. Okay, let's see what this one is. Is this GameCube? Is this Wii U? It is GameCube. All right. That's the notch, which means that's going to be the front. Probably got this wrong. Let's find out together now. GameCube title. 3, 2, 1. Call of Duty. Call of Duty 2 Big Red One. I don't know anything about this, but I'll be honest with you. It is a World War II Call of Duty game. It is a World War II Call of Duty game. It is a single-player Call of Duty experience, which means I'm going to enjoy it a hell of a lot more than any modern Call of Duty title. Let's take a look now at Call of Duty 2 Big Red One. This one is pretty cool. This is Call of Duty 2, the Big Red One, and this is not cool because it's something where I think it's a great game, because I think you can clearly see that when this released, the winner of the competition between Call of Duty and Medal of Honor was very clearly Medal of Honor, because this game struggles in a lot of ways. But it's really cool to see kind of the early stages of the Call of Duty franchise. Now, I'm not a Call of Duty player. I'm not a fan of it. I don't particularly care for modern war games, and I'm not an online gamer, so it's not something that's made for me. But single-player shooter campaigns like this are things that intrigue me, things that excite me. And I'm really intrigued to play this a little bit more, because I think the GameCube is actually a pretty solid console for shooters. And I'm really interested to see where this one goes. Now, there's a lot of clunkiness inherent in this game that just was not present on things like the Medal of Honor titles. The menu system isn't great. Holding down the bottom button on the plus control pad to bring up your objectives isn't great. The map is a little funky. The controls aren't really great. It's a little bit confusing to find out where your objectives are going, but it's still something that I'm intrigued by and I want to spend more time with, because this is a setting that I can get into. This is something that interests me. Excited to get this. Happy it is a complete in-box title. Happy that it's an original GameCube case as well, which I think is super awesome. Call of Duty 2, big red one, pretty neat. Again, always appreciate getting complete in-box stuff. I think that's pretty awesome. I am interested in that at the very least. World War II shooters are at least intriguing to me, and the fact that it's single player makes it a lot more fun. All right, we're going to go now with... We'll go Genesis. We'll do Super Nintendo last. I don't always get a lot of Super Nintendo stuff sent. Genesis, ready? 3, 2, 1. taz-mania. I may have this already. Or I have Taz Mission to Mars or something like that. Anyway, taz-mania on the Genesis. Let's take a look. So the taz-mania on the Genesis and the taz-mania on the Super Nintendo, which I do have, are very different experiences because one of them's good and it's not this Genesis one. Now, I know a lot of people really like this one. This is one that a lot of folks suggested to me, but playing this one, I am not feeling it. I don't care for the locomotion. It is a very unforgiving game where one tiny little misstep and you're done. You're just absolutely done. I don't care for the jumping mechanics. I don't like the fact that the character of Taz has to complete his animation sequence before he comes to a complete stop. So you have to actually let go of the D-pad very early before you're going to come to a stop. It's not fun. Now, where it succeeds is it's beautiful. It is an absolutely gorgeous looking game. I love that it looks and it performs like Taz, like it's a little chaotic. And I like the music. And I think that there's something here where the more I play it, I might get more used to it, but I don't know how often I'm going to go back to it. Still, I'm not disappointed in this one because Looney Tunes games are always kind of fun to me and they're always kind of interesting. And this is one that I can probably see myself going back to and trying to figure out kind of the rhythm and the cadence of it before I give up on it completely. Not upset by it. I don't think it's great, but I'm not upset by it. All right, taz-mania. Okay, final game now. This is for the Super Nintendo. I was just looking to see what side the label was on. I did not see what title it was, but let's find out now. Excitingly, what the Super Nintendo game of the month is. 3, 2, 1. I have no idea. Oh, Populous! Oh, that's fantastic. I'm actually a really big Populous fan. I had Populous on my... can't remember if it was a C64 or a DOS machine back when I was younger, but I loved the idea of kind of terraforming a world and being the god of the world and creating your own world. I thought that was really neat. I've never played it on the Super Nintendo, though. Let's see how it plays. Receiving what was one of my favorite games, and I remember now it was on the Amiga that I first played Populous. It's one of those games that I just loved on the Amiga. One of the first, computer games I remember playing at computer camp or computer class, because it was just so unique and so unlike anything I'd ever played. It's a God game. It's the first God game. This is really the kind of game that kind of lent itself to where we ended up seeing games like Spore or The Sims and things like that. It started here with Populous. Now, the game is played in an isometric view. You play as a deity that is able to terraform the land. There's a ton of levels available, and you have to go through, and basically, you want to make sure that your followers defeat the enemy followers. That's the entire goal of the game. There's a bunch of different divine powers that you have at your disposal to do so. I need to find the manual for this game. I can tell you that right now, because trying to go about this blindly on the SNES is a little bit difficult, but that doesn't make it bad, because I love this game. This is a Peter Molyneux original. If you know who that is, you know this is exactly the type of game he would have created, and I am just so stoked to have this one. This is one of those games that I constantly forget about until I see it, and then I'm like, oh god, I loved Populous. Now I own it again, and that's a good thing. There you have it, my friends. The 6 games I got this month from VGM. What's going to happen right now? We're going to take a brief break. I'm going to total up the value of everything I received this month. We'll find out if I came out ahead, came out behind, or if I was right on the money.
And there was much rejoicing.
All right, from a value perspective, I was ahead of the game this time, even with shipping costs equated. That's a really nice feeling. It's really nice to see them get back on track. Very excited to have these games added to the collection. As always, there's some great stuff here, and there's some stuff that I probably wouldn't have picked up on my own, but happy to at least have them and to have been able to given the opportunity to try them out. Let me know in the comments down below, what is the best game I received this month? Got a feeling Gradius is probably going to win. If you enjoyed this video, Be sure to check out the video on screen right now. I do one of these every month. This is actually one of my favorite VGM videos that I've ever done shown right now. If you're new here, please click subscribe, click the like button. It helps the algorithm out. And until next time, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.